Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is doing a motor repair for the DreamStation made by Philips, and it's called the Respironics. This particular machine was having an issue with the amount of sound that it makes, so I'm going to turn it on, and then we can listen to the sound it was making. It basically sounds like a siren going off in the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep. So, of course, it was still working, but with that sound, it was terrible. So, that's what the problem is. I took the machine to the manufacturers, the people that distribute this machine, and they said basically it was going to cost about $1,500 to have it repaired. A new one from those guys was $2,500, which of course is ridiculous because I think you can buy these on Amazon for about $800. So either way, it sounded to me like the blower motor that needed to be repaired, and so I ordered one from CPAP USA, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to exchange the blower motors and see if that solves the problem. I did take it to the distributors, and the motherboard and the functioning of the machine is all correct. It's just the noise that's the problem. And so what we're going to do is we're going to exchange motors, and here's how we do it. Okay, and so number one, we're going to take the power off of the machine. So that's plug in right here, so we're going to remove that so we don't have any power going to the machine anymore. Next thing, I have the heated hose. I'm going to remove that. Don't need that as far as the exchange goes. Third thing is I have the humidifier here, so I'm going to open that up. I'm going to take the tank for the humidifier out, and then I'm going to take the humidifier off. And to do that, it's got a button right here on the opposite side, and we're going to push that in and slowly separate the two. Okay, so you can see what that looks like on the inside. Okay. Again, that's of no need to us at this part because the blower motor is contained within the base unit itself. Next, we need to take out the filters and the SD card. So I'm going to remove the air filter. So that comes out. And the SD card. So you push in and let it pop back out. I made the mistake the first time of looking at this, wondering why it wouldn't come apart. Okay, so the next thing, so I guess that's number 5, is you're going to take off this shield. So you pull it toward the rear of the machine, and then it simply lifts out. Okay, you do the same thing on the other side, back to the rear of the machine, and it'll lift out. So that's that side, and that's that side. Okay, so what we see now is we have 2 screws. One screw located on this side right there, and one screw located on this side over here. And that's what we're going to remove next. So to do that, you need the Torx. It's a VT10 bit, Torx VT10 bit, and let's get this going. Okay, that's one coming up. Set that aside. Come to the other side. Take that screw out. Okay, so those are the first 2. I'm going to set those aside. And now we're going to start to take apart the rest of this unit here. You can see it's starting to separate. All right, now the last little bit is we have two little things that we need to deflect. So we're going to do that right there. There's one gone. Push that in, and it releases the lock that's on it, and off it comes. And set that aside. All right, so this is the motherboard and the front face. The front face now slides out of position. So I've just lifted it out of its slot. And so we're just going to leave that loose for a second while we take the motherboard off. Motherboard, again, has got these 2 screws right here. Here goes the first one. 1, 2, 3. Yep. So here's set that screw aside for this use. And set this screw aside for that one right there. And are we loose? Yeah, we're loose. Okay, so I've just lifted the motherboard straight up. Now on the motherboard, we've got these two electrical connectors right at the back. And now we're going to take needle nose pliers and disconnect these two. These are the power supply and the controllers for the blower motor. So disconnect that one and disconnect this one. Okay, we now have the motherboard and front face separated from the unit. Okay, just set that down carefully. And again, I had that checked by the people that sell these. As far as the mechanics of this motherboard and stuff are all good, so that's why we've isolated it down to the blower motor, which is contained inside this particular unit. Again, on this one, there's 4 screws that need to come out. One, and I'm just going to go clockwise. 1, 2. Let's get in there. 3 and 4. And again, I've just put those particular screws by themselves off at the side. So now the next thing is to take this lid off. Oh, I've got one more down here. 2 more actually. 1, 2. So there's 6 in total. Alright, now, yes, now it's moving. So I'm going to take my, and separate that. Alright, so I'm just taking off the top of the motor housing. Okay, actually I can leave those two other screws. I didn't actually need to take those out. I can put those back in right now because I'm not going to be removing the rest of this. I just need access to the motor itself, and I have that already. Okay, so now here's what the motor looks like when it's in. And so we have to take the motor away from the connection that goes between the humidifier and the motor itself, which is this one right here. We also have to remove the wiring, this wiring right here, from this rubber holder. So I'm going to take this out first. Take that off of there. I'm going to take my pliers and simply pull this up and out so it's loose. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blower motor straight up and out. Okay, so that part is done. So the blower motor is out. Okay, so now I did in fact need to take these out, because it just makes it easier as far as threading the power cable out if I ever lift this up. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is pull this apart. The white one out. And we take this, the other one. So we've got this out of the way, and now the power unit itself out of the way. Okay. You'll also notice on this motor, on the motor part here, that it has these 3 rubber stabilizers, and you need to make sure that you retain those because they don't come. The new one doesn't come with that particular fitting, so make sure you look after these. So I take those off, 1, 2, 3. So here's the old motor, and here's the new motor. Okay, so I'm just going to uncoil the power supply. Okay, so you make sure it looks the same. You've got the correct one. You can see the part number there on the sheet. So set that one aside, and now we're going to reinstall this one. Okay, so I've exchanged the rubber noise suppressors onto the new motor. Now we're going to put it back into the chamber. So we need to make sure that the rubber seal goes in the right spot. We got all our other ones are in there, and this rubber seal is all the way around the blower motors, the end of the blower motor. So it's in place in the proper positions now. So the next thing is I'm going to put in the rubber stopper right into that slot there. Just slide it down in, come down and fit the wires in behind the little sleeve right here. And we now put the rubber lock back on, which is those little two rubber circles. Okay, so it's now tucked in behind this, and now goes underneath the machine and comes back up. On this particular groove right here, that's where we want to have it come up through. And so I'm going to put the black sleeve on it, and then we're going to bring the next part in. So now we have the base unit. We have to put the motherboard connector back into place here. Make sure that stays there. Okay, it's snapped in. And now the motherboard connector comes up through here. Okay, I have to slide that up a little bit. Okay. Get it lined up properly with the back. Bring this forward. I'm going to put this little black sleeve that's on the motherboard cable needs to slot into that hole right there. There it is. All right, now let's get the back in place. Okay, so at the back, what we're looking for is making sure that the back would slot in to the two plastic pieces here. Okay, so it's in now, and so I'm going to return one of the screws that holds the housing and this back plate down in together. Okay, that will hold that for the moment. Just check and make sure we got a good seal. Yeah, both of them are in the track, so that's what we want to see. Okay, so I'm going to put the second screw in because they're all lined up properly now. I'll get that in there. There we go. Okay, so the base unit is together again. Now we're going to put the top that seals in the motor. Put that back in place. Make sure it's all fitting properly. Okay, and then we're going to take the screws and reattach those. Okay, that's good. Went down no problem. 1, 2. There's 4 of these, so. And of course, it's easiest if you make sure that you put the screws in the same pile, so then you know which set of screws is going to be next. Okay, so I've got a good seal now on the air chamber itself. Now to hook up the motherboard and the front face. So the front face I'm going to have a look at from this side. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure the front face is going to slide down into position. See how this, so there was, see this seam right here? You want to make sure that there's nothing there. So it's in the proper position right now, okay? Or it will go in a few moments. So what we need to do is now hook up the connectors. So the white slides in, it just gets plugged into there. And the cream colored one is going to get plugged in right here. Now I used a needle nose pliers to take them out, but they just plug in. So, okay, so we've just made sure that the connectors are in on the motherboard, both the white and the cream colored one. And then the last part is to make sure that this particular unit sits down into its slot like that. Okay. Sometimes you might end up with it not in the right position, and so they'll have this little gap here. Just make sure it goes right down into the slot, and then you know that there's nothing blocking the motherboard, which will again save you a little bit of hassle later on. All right, so again, reinstall the motherboard with the 2 screws that it had, and you know, you might, if you're worried about forgetting which hole to use or whatever and stuff, you might want to take a felt pen. You use a felt pen and just simply mark on the screw, and then a little spot beside where on the motherboard as to where it goes. All right, last part. So we've got the face on, the motherboard's on, the motor's been exchanged. We've put in the connectors. Everything looks good. So I'm going to put the top back on into place. Remember those little tabs that we pushed before? Push them down. Yeah, I heard that nice little click sound. That was good. That's what we want to hear. And then I'm going to reinstall these 2 screws on the side. So good, 1 and 2. Okay, it is down and closing in on the end. So now remember we had the 2 side things, and we had to pull them back to make sure that they were going to fit. So that's actually, that should be this side, I think. Yeah. Up, push it forward, drop it down into place. Okay, come over to this one. So you see how it fits that way, or sorry, it's going to fit this way. So we're going to push it forward till it goes into place, slide it down, it's good. Now we're going to come over and we have to finish putting in the what do you call these? The drive card, SD card, and the filter. Filter goes in this way, slide it into place, that's good. Put on the air humidifier. Again, I'm going to just check the seals, make sure they're good. Yep. Then we're going to connect the 2 together. Locks into place. Yep. Locked into place. Open up. Put my humidifier tank back in. I can put the hose back on. And now I'm just going to test it for some sound. Plug the power back in. There we go. Power is in. Let's see if we... Yay! I don't have a siren going off anymore. Awesome. Okay, so there you have it, the Respironics from Philips, the DreamStation. This motor model was called the MOOG model. Again, I showed you the part number before, but here it is again. And I would order this from Philips Respironics in the US. There may be one in Canada. I don't know. I searched and searched and no one else seemed to have one available. Well, I hope you just find that being useful. The cost of the motor was $220 from CPAP USA. I live in Canada, so anyway, the shipping, they charged me $30, but unfortunately their shipping, they need to you need to insist that they send it UPS, not by mail. It took about a month for it to arrive via mail, whereas I know shipping to Ohio normally takes 4 days. But anyway, that's the Respironics replacing the motor, and it really isn't a big deal. It's just a matter of following the direction. If you've got any questions, you can certainly message me through YouTube, and that's it. Thank you.